Hello there, and welcome. Welcome, fellow spiritual travelers and seekers of the cosmic light and truth. It's Psychic Cynthia here, and welcome to September. This is your cosmic forecast for September 2021. And we'll delve a bit more into the details of the astrology here in a moment. But just looking at the big picture of the energies, this month ahead is going to be a month with some very strong feminine energies. It will be a very active month, though, too, at the same time, because September is the month of the fall equinox for those of us in the northern hemisphere. And of course, for those of you in the southern hemisphere, that would be the spring equinox. But this is an equinox month, and the fall equinox, that's what it is where I'm at in particular, in the north. The fall equinox is a time of great change. It is an acceleration of change, and it is a time where things begin changing quite rapidly. It is a time this month you will experience most likely a culmination of some kind. This is a time to take in the harvest, to bring in the harvest. It is also a time where we begin disintegration. And disintegration will be a theme this month because we're continuing on with the retrogrades. We have, at the start of this month, 6 major planetary bodies in retrograde, and by the end of this month that will increase to 7. So there's still that sense, this is continuing from last month, there's still the sense that we are getting closure, we are tying up loose ends. Maybe there is some confusion still, but we've been in this retrograde cycle, this large retrograde cycle, for a while, so it may be that you're starting perhaps to get some clarity about what you need to let go. So we're continuing with those energies of letting go, of clearing out in September. But we also have the feminine energies of the sun in Virgo. We're going to have the new moon in Virgo. And then we're going to have the full moon in Pisces as we start this month. Actually, not the new moon is closer to the start, but we're having all this in September. And then the fall equinox. The fall equinox this year, or I just should say the equinox, because for some of you, you're in the southern hemisphere, so it will be a spring equinox. But the equinox in September this year is taking place on the 22nd, September 22nd. That's when the sun enters Libra. And Libra is considered a masculine sign, masculine air, but it's also very feminine because its planetary ruler is Venus. So it's sort of a more active form of the feminine energy, but we do have a lot of the feminine energy this month. And so feminine energy is, we could say a lot about that, but this is a time to focus on partnerships and relationships in this month ahead, especially after the 22nd of September. And again, this is for the year 2021. We begin this month in the 4th quarter moon. So at the beginning of this month, it may not feel like a very strong beginning. 4th quarter moon cycle, that part of the cycle is still a time of cleansing and letting go within the lunar cycle. So don't be at all surprised if, as you're starting this month, you don't feel as energetic, as you'd hoped. Maybe it's going to take a while to jump into the month. Now, we do have the new moon pretty early on. The new moon at 14 Virgo, so that's 14 degrees Virgo, and that's happening on Labor Day for those of us here in the United States. The date of that is Monday, September 6th, and that is when we're going to have the new moon at 14 degrees Virgo. In my time zone, I believe it's at 8:52 p.m. I should check that. I don't have my books here. That might be 7:52 a.m. Central Time, 8:52 p.m. Eastern, and these are all daylight times for the United States. So for those of you in Europe, this is occurring, quite a bit earlier, actually. But still, I believe, on Monday, September 6th. So early in the month, we have that new beginning with the new moon. So once that new moon activates, that's the time to set your intentions for the month ahead and to make some small starts. And with the Virgo energy, we're already coming into the month. The sun is in Virgo, then we're going to have the new moon in Virgo. So we're already focused in on that feminine Virgo energy, which is the Earth Mother, the goddess energy. It's a very precise form of that. Virgo is linked to agriculture and healing and hygiene and classifications of things. So this will be a time for getting organized in the first half of the month, especially from the 6th onward, certainly to the 22nd, if not for the whole month to some extent. So we're focusing, it's a good idea this month to focus on getting reorganized, to continue to clear, because we still have a lot of retrogrades. So part of your reorganization is going to be continuing to clear away, to cut away the dead wood. And listen, that can be actual physical objects, but it can also be relationships, jobs, projects. It can also mean clearing out your aura. Virgo and that energy is very sensitive to the need to purify and cleanse. So you might ask yourself, on what level do you need to purify and cleanse? You can look at it on a physical level, such as with your material stuff, or with your diet. This is a good time to work with diet, to look at where you might need to clean that up, especially if you're on the spiritual path. You have to know that what you put into your body can affect your ability to connect with Source. It also definitely can affect your ability to just feel good, to be centered and grounded, to feel connected to others around you. The substances we put in do matter. And of course, not just the food or the chemicals, and it all matters, okay? But also what we're putting in mentally, what we're bringing in, that's another level. Are you listening to angry people all the time, judgmental people all the time, people that want to rant on and on, or fearful people, or paranoid people? How much news are you ingesting? The news is not very positive these days. I don't know if it ever has been, but it seems there's a lot more polarization. So get this, listen up clearly. If you are ingesting polarized news or media or conversations all the time, guess what? You will be split and polarized inside. Did you hear what I just said? If you are going into the dramas of polarization and groups dividing into this group against that group and all that, if you're finding yourself judging a group of people for whatever reason, that will reflect back within you. You will be split inside. You will be polarized. You will have conflict with yourself. So eliminate that crap, okay? This is a good month for, looking deep within and looking at where you need to remove these negative energy threats. Where you've opened up doorways in your aura to let negativity in, whether that's through, your media that you're interacting with, social media or news media, or your food that you're eating. Listen, I don't think you have to be a saint. It's not like you can't have some social media a little bit or a little news if you want. Just realize you're ingesting that, okay? And it's like if you were eating junk food, okay? Like if you're eating something just full of, a bunch of fat and sugars and something that is not going to make you feel very good afterwards. How much of that would you really allow yourself to eat? I hope you would use some restraint. And that's, part of this purification thing also is getting more disciplined and getting more organized in your energetic processes and learning to use restraint with what you're bringing into your aura and your life. Okay, so enough about that. Hopefully I've covered that. But but it is a good time to look at your health on all levels, you know. And Virgo is not just a physical healer, it is. But Virgo is connected to energy healing and healing through vibration, healing through sound, healing through positive thoughts, healing through cleansing and neutralizing negative energies. By negative, let me be more specific, I mean destructive energies. I mean, for example, I mean, if you're really struggling with something, but you keep going back to this thought, oh, I should just give up. This is the thought you keep having. I should just give up. I should just give up on this. I should just give up on that. Or life is so bad, I should just kill myself and get it over with. I hear this sometimes. Do you know what happens in your cells when you say that to them, in your very physical cells? When you say to yourself, I should just give up, or life is so bad, I should just, you know, kick the bucket. You're sending a message to your body, to your cells. You're telling them you want to die. You want them to die. You want to, you know, get rid of your body. And that's not good. I mean, if you wonder why other things aren't working right, you know, if you're saying those things, it's not good. So just don't do that, okay? And I know sometimes it's not that easy, especially if you're used to it, but you can make a decision to change. And Virgo is about that. This Virgo energy that we have this month. Virgo is about improving the self and bringing out the most beautiful version of the self. I mean, she is that beautiful goddess. The Virgo, she is Demeter. She is the harvest goddess. So she helps us to bring forth the inner harvest. What do you want to harvest from inside of you? What do you want to bring forth? Focus on that which is worthy of bringing forth in this month ahead, and allowing it to come forth, allowing your higher self to come forth, allowing, you know, that part of yourself that is more organized and together and just has her or his stuff together. You know, this is a good time for getting your stuff more together. And there'll be a lot of, even with the retrogrades, there will be some forward moving energy to help you with this. So that's good. That's good, right? Now, on the subject of the retrogrades, just so you know, we do have Mercury going retrograde this month. Late in the month. It will enter the pre-retrograde storm. So this isn't the retrograde proper, but it basically is like an echo before the retrograde, and it acts like the retrograde. So that storm is going to start, well, it depends on what time zone you're in. It's going to be late on the night of Sunday, September 26th. So if you're in the Pacific USA time zone, that's going to be at 10:10 p.m. For those of us in other time zones, for example, in the Central time zone, it will technically be on Monday, September 27th. But really, I think of it as being on Sunday night, because even in the Central time zone, for example, it's going to be at 12:10 a.m. here. So it's right after midnight. In the Eastern, it'll be 1:10 a.m. So the night of September 26th, early hours of September 27th, that is when the retrograde starts proper. But you have, and you have the storm that's starting earlier on the 20th, on September 20th. So basically, if you have some worldly projects you're working on that you want to get off the ground or make plans for, I would definitely plan on getting those started at the very least, if not finished, but started for sure by September 20th. Because that's when the pre-storm of Mercury retrograde begins. That's also the day of the full moon, or the night of the full moon, and that's a Monday. So we're going to be having on September 20th, we're going to be having the peak of the energy for the month, at least the lunar energy, on September 20th. That gives us a lot of time, you know, to get some things done and to tie up some loose ends. And listen, once this retrograde starts and the full moon happens, you can still continue progressing in some ways and working on things, but you basically, if you're wise, you would keep working on the things that you've already started. You know, just deal with what's on your plate already instead of taking on new things. So this doesn't mean you can't do anything, okay? And I might recommend, with all these energies going on, and especially with Libra, the sun entering Libra with the fall equinox on the 22nd, that's a really social sign. So I might recommend that you build into your schedule later in the month some time to socialize or to take a trip. I know that might seem strange because, who takes a trip during Mercury retrograde? Okay, if you travel during Mercury retrograde, you have to be willing to be flexible. You have to know that some schedule malfunctions are going to happen, maybe even some breakdowns in the vehicles or the planes or whatever. But short trips, especially short day trips, I would think, just short trips, maybe a few days, not major trips, but short trips or outings to refresh your soul. This is what this month is good for. You need some soul refreshment. That's part of what the yin energy is about. Yin reminds us that we want to slow down and smell the roses and enjoy the fresh air and enjoy each other. This is a month of, yes, getting organized and being productive in your work. But remember, life isn't all about work. It's also about connecting with others. That's what Libra is going to be teaching us from the middle of the month on, or, well, from the 22nd on. So think about your relationships as the month goes on, and maybe where you want to make some adjustments in those relationships. That there could be endings in relationships because Mercury will be retrograding in Libra. And I'll probably do a separate video about Mercury retrograde later, but if you're wondering right now how long, what are the dates, it is technically retrograde September 27th to October 18th, 2021, this time in Libra. It moves during that time in retrograde motion 25 degrees Libra back to 10 degrees Libra. So you can look at your chart if you want to for where those areas are at. But the storm starts on September 20th, the pre-storm, and the post-storm goes until October 22nd. So basically, September 20th through October 22nd at least, these are not times where we want to be starting, totally new projects. We can continue through with what we've already planned, and that will be favored. But even then, we'll need some patience. So, yeah, plan on giving yourself some time to get refreshed and rejuvenated. And because we have the fall equinox, this time in many places is a time to come together with others, to celebrate the harvest, to see friends especially, and go to fun concerts or events. So if you're able to do that, or just to take a short trip or an outing, it would be a wonderful thing to do, especially around mid-month, towards the end of the month, even with Mercury retrograding, and the other retrogrades, because by the end of the month we'll have 7 major planetary retrogrades. Right now we just have Jupiter, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune and Chiron, something like that. And then we'll have Mercury too by the end of the month. So what can you say? It's just the way it is. And remember, with the retrograde energy, we are continuing to go back over old ground. We're being given the gift of more time to resolve issues we haven't resolved yet. That's all. That's what the retrograde energy is about, to figure some things out that we thought we had figured out, but we hadn't. So just keep working on some of that stuff. Alrighty, well, I hope you enjoyed this forecast, and I'm wishing you all a fun and fabulous and uplifting and hopefully spiritually and cosmically tuned in month ahead. Until next time, bright cosmic blessings for you and yours.